Welcome to our Amud Yomi Shiur. Thank you all of you for coming here today. Again, thank you to people on YouTube and to Anytime that are with us today. Again, we are in Daf Mem Vav Amud Aleph, but right now we're still in Mem He Amud Beis, Maseches Kiddushin. Maseches Kiddushin, Daf Mem He Amud Beis, towards the bottom of the page. We are studying the topic of a Ketana that was mekadesh without her father's knowledge, and we spoke yesterday about a Ketana that was mekadesh with the father's knowledge, but there was Nisuin without his knowledge. This year's Leilun Nishmas Avimori Menachem and Akiva, Rus Bas Shalom, Sorbas Moshe, Leilun Nishmas Kol HaKadoshim Kulam, everybody, Lerefuas, Pnina Chaya Bas Gil Rochel, Chana Batzima, Or Refoel Ben Dalia, and to the Refuah of Yair Ben Chefziba. Yeah, and of course, first and foremost, to all the captives should come home very quickly. Okay, yesterday we learned as follows. We saw Mechlokas yesterday, and that was there was a case before the case we're about to learn now. There was a case of Nisaz Niskat Sheledas Venises Sheloi Ledas. That was before that. What was the case? A girl, that's something we learned yesterday, but I'm going to summarize it now. Niskat Sheledas Venises Sheloi Ledas Va'avia Kan. A girl who was Niskadish Ledas, which means the father really wanted the Kiddushin. Okay, that's normal. Kiddushin Doraisa. But the Nisuin, the Chuppah, was Shalol Ledas. Yeah, she did the Chuppah without asking the father. What does it mean without asking? He's here. He knows about it, but he wasn't consulted before. And you have to ask the father before the Chuppah, and she didn't. So what do we say? Remember the names. Very important. Remember the names of the ones we said yesterday. Ravuna says, Eino Icheles. Ravuna says, no, she cannot eat truma. In case she's an Israelis who married a Kohen, she is not allowed to eat truma. Why? Because if he's here and he is keeping quiet, how do you interpret his silence? That smoke is coming out of his ears and he's just not saying anything. So because he's here and he wasn't even told, he wasn't consulted, they just made a chuppah out of the blue, boom, under the sky. All of a sudden, he's probably unhappy about that, or at least we should be concerned about it. And his silence is really not worth gold. His silence is angry. So what do we say? She's not mekadesh, so don't eat truma. Because if you are not the Kohen's legal wife, because your daddy doesn't want that, you're not allowed to eat truma. Very good. Now, what about Avir Mi'abarabba? Avir Mi'abarabba said, no, we interpret his silence as itnuchi itnecha le. He's probably happy about it, unless we know otherwise, and unless we clearly see some angry facial expression, his silence is interpreted as beseder, showing all is good. Because the Kiddushin was good. Now we're talking about a third case. Niskadsha sheloi ledas avia, venisa sheloi ledas. Oh, did you see? She was a naughty girl twice. She was miskadish without asking her father, right? Which we said was already a question. According to Rav Shmuel, you have to be concerned. Maybe he wants. According to Ula, you don't have to be concerned. The nises shelo ledas, and also the nisuin. Also, the father is here. Va'avia kan. She really got under the chuppah with a boy without the father's consent, and the father is here. So she was twice, going in the direction which is without the father's consent. Surprise, surprise. Ravuna Omar Oicheles. Wow, did you see that? The same Ravuna that before was considered the father is angry, here, which is super bad, Ravuna says that no, probably the father is okay, and she's allowed to eat truma. If you think this is difficult, soon you see what the Gemara has to say about Ravuna's opinion. Avir Mi'abarabba, remember it's the same names, but they switched. Avir Mi'abarabba says, Eino Cheles. Avir Mi'abarabba makes a lot of sense. Why? Avir Mi'abarabba says, listen, beforehand, when she was halfway good, halfway bad, half the thing was with his consent and half not, then showing is okay. He wanted her to be mekadeshes, okay. Afterwards, what did she do? She got nisua without his permission. What do you get mekudesh for? Nisuin, okay. But here, when you were so naughty, twice you didn't ask daddy, then she can't eat, is probably upset. Now, Rav Huna is very, very difficult. Omar Ula. Ula is bystander. He's watching and listening to the machlokes of Rav Huna and Avir Mi'abarabba. and he says something nice to say. Ode Ravuna, Ravuna's statement, you know what I compare it to? Kichoimetz l'shinayim ukioshon la'inayim. It's like vinegar for the teeth. No, lemon juice is not good for the teeth. If you have lemon juice, it's bad for your teeth. It makes yellow teeth. But kioshan la'inayim, smoke for the eyes, right? Lag ba'omer, you know the eyes are not so happy with the smoke, right? So in other words, what you're saying is, is quoting a pasuk from Mishlei, absolutely nonsensical, because the question is strong. Hashta mahosam over there in the previous case, the Kiddushin d'oraisa. In your previous case, he's now attacking Rav Huna. Rav Huna, excuse me. Omarta, you said when the Kiddushin was with the father's consent, sheniskat shalidas, and yet Omarta loy ochlo, just because the chuppah wasn't within his agreement, his consent, we say she doesn't eat truma because maybe the father didn't want the chuppah. Achalakol sheken. Here, all the more so. Here, when she did double trouble, she was miskadish without his knowledge, and she was nesua without his knowledge. All the more so. Let's assume that really the father is unhappy, and she should not risk herself by eating truma. I'm sorry. Do you mind to close the window? I can't take open windows in the winter. I'm just okay. Beseder. Answers the Gemara, so that does make sense. And the Gemara doesn't yet answer. We continue the attack. Says the Gemara, quoting Ula, Nirin Divrei Talmid. I think that the Talmid is better than the Rebbe. Ooh. You know who are those people that argued? Rav Yirmiyah bar Abba against Rav Huna? Well, Rav Yirmiyah bar Abba was a student, a disciple, a Talmid of Rav Huna. I think that the Talmid is more correct in this case than the Rebbe. In other words, what are you talking about? Let's repeat the question, right? You, Rav Huna, are telling me if the father wanted it, if the father was against his will, or not against it, we didn't know if the father wanted the Kiddushin. On the Kiddushin, you put an X, and then what? Excuse me, let's start the other way. When the father wanted the Kiddushin, but the chuppah was without asking him in advance, without consulting, what do we say? We say that no, the father is angry, that the father is upset, smoke coming out, he's the chuppah. We don't know if it's a chuppah. Don't eat truma until you find out what's going on for sure, until you get a clear yes from your father. We don't assume it's good. So then, on the other hand, what do you say? If there was Kiddushin without his knowledge and chuppah without his knowledge, then we said that it's okay. You can eat your truma, girl. Eat the truma, and we assume that the father is okay. What's going on over here? Omar Rove. Rove is coming to defend Rav Huna. My time at the Rav Huna. What is Rav Huna's reason? You know what's Rav Huna's reason? Rav Huna's reason is as follows. Because she is like a yesoima in the life of her father. Let me ask you a question. When something, if you're a mature adult, yeah, question in psychology, and let's say you have a bad encounter with one guy, with one shop in Israel, science fiction. You get a bad service from an Israeli store. Stam, I'm saying, never happens, yeah? And you're an Oleh Hadash, you're very used to Marks and Spencer or, I don't know, Macy's, whatever, yeah? And what? And you come to a store and they're like, Ma ba'yashcha. So then the first time you get very upset and shocked and surprised. When it happens the fifth, sixth time, you have to go to that store. Nobody else has the goods. You got used to it, right? Yeah, you're not going to fight with them like, a little child. That's life. I learned to work around it. When the bad things happen already more than once, more than twice, as always, that's the way it is. That's more or less the psychology over here, okay? Let's see how Rashi says it in his own heilige words. There are two Rashis we're going to see today. That's the way I prepared it. Look at the Gemara, Rashi now, the second Dibur HaMaschil in Rashi. That girl did double, twice she acted in his life, right? She did two actions without asking him. Kiddushin and Nisuin, ki'ilu hi esoima. She behaved as if she's an orphan, right? She completely disregarded the father. Oh, he kept quiet twice. How do you interpret that? Unbelievable. Rashi says something very, very mechudesh. The father can relinquish and give up, waiver his rights over the girl. Wow, that's a big chiddush. And that ktana can be miskadesh herself, and and the chosen will, and also nisua have nisuin. The father says if the father twice behaved that way, it's a shtickle like chazaka. He gave up. He's already better. He doesn't mind at all. I go to that store and they'll scream at me. Better, okay. It's a mahalach. It's a pattern. Or as we said before, shtika koridah. In other words, you know why she was miskadish and he kept quiet, and nisua and he kept quiet. He doesn't mind. He doesn't care. He says, "God, good boy, nice boy." According to some Rishonim, this is talking with shidduchim. Right? Why do you have to say anything? Okay, I'm in honor. I just let it flow. Now, why do you only say twice and not once? The bishlam when he's kachel daitoi, when he says shalol daitoi, when the kiddushin was with his askama, hey, you need my askama. I'm the boss. And the nisun was shalol daitoi. Ikalmeimar the chadash tikamir tachrotach. Right? In other words, if we see that the father is makpid to use his rights, I am in charge of your Kiddushin girl. I agree, and otherwise no, right? That means by the chuppah, he remains the same person. So why did he keep quiet? He's probably angry, and he doesn't want to make a scene in the chassan hall. Aval kuli hai lo shosik. But if the person keeps quiet twice, we don't say he's angry. We say he agrees, and he agrees. That's a svara. That's a svara of Rav Huna. Not everyone agrees to that. Rav Yirmiyah doesn't like it, right? And Ula doesn't like it. But Lamaisa, this is a good svara. That's a psychology that Rav Huna uses. By the way, halacha Lamaisa, before we continue, halacha, I wouldn't say Lamaisa. So far, I told you it's a big machlokes Hoshenim, and it is. Again, let's summarize what we know till now. Rav Shmuel say Tana received Kiddushin, and they are concerned maybe the father agreed, even if you don't know that he agreed, right? Then there are two types of opponents to that shita. Either one opinion says that was Ula over here, and Ula said nothing. My sektana is nothing. The whole thing doesn't begin. Even if the father agrees, doesn't mean anything. The father can't agree to a monkey jumping around. Iktana in my seklum. I agree to what? Nothing. And there is the other opinion. We saw the other opinion over here, and that was by Ravina. Ravina said we are not concerned that the father maybe agreed. But if I know that he agreed, then yes, then I do take that into account, and he works lemafrea according to the Ran. If the father showed that he's happy, that shows that it's a zchus for him. Halacha l'maisa, you know who are the ones who lost the game according to Shulchan Aruch? Unbelievable, Rav and Shmuel. We don't pass against Rav and Shmuel. In other words, we're passing like any of the other two opinions. But if to just be choishesh, maybe the father agreed, no. Shulchan Aruch brings two opinions. Either you b'chlal don't care about what the Ketana does, or if you know that the father agreed afterwards, but you know it, then we're retroactive. I don't know if Shulchan Aruch says retroactive, that's the Ran, but we say that it's nisuin if you know that the father agreed, right? But if you don't know that the father agreed to be choishesh, maybe there was a thought went through his mind, that much we're not choishesh, and we rejected Rav Shmuel. Yeah, I assume, I didn't see all the Rishonim here, I didn't see enough Rishonim here at all, but who's arguing Rav Shmuel? Ravina. And we have a rule, which Rotesis brings it down over here actually. But when it comes to Amiroim, Achroinim are bigger than Rishonim, unlike today. You know that. The later the Amoira, after Abba and Rov's time, more Achroinim, they're more medayik, and they took responsibility to teach the halacha today. Who do you ask your shilas? Do you ask your own shilas to the Goyen of Vilna? We wish. You ask your shilas to the Rav of Yeshul, and he took into calculation all the different opinions. The more current relevant opinions are the Achronim of the Gemara. And Ravina was an Achron, as we all know, and he passed against Rav Shmuel. So I assume that's the reason. But Lamaisa, if a little girl was mekadesh without her father's knowledge, and then what happened, we don't know if the father said yes. We're unaware. The father, I don't know, the father's not in the picture. I don't know. So far, we haven't seen any response. So we're not choshesh that she's mekadesh. I mean, such a case happens, I don't know, go ask your Rav, but I'm saying that is begadol what the Shulchan Aruch holds. I'm sorry. Itmar. No, he's there. No. Like his dad, we said only with this Kiddushin and Chuppah. Then if she went so far as Kiddushin and Chuppah, then according to this opinion only, which we also don't pass in by as far as I remember, according to Rav Huna, that's an interesting psychology. If the father is quiet by Kiddushin and quiet by Chuppah, then we say so many times he's quiet and he knows what's gone. Mistom, it's like a general agreement. It's like the American who goes to the Israeli store, they scream at him, and he laughs it through. I already don't mind. I'm already going with the flow. Not everyone holds it. That's his svara. Weiter, Itmar, more on the same. We're not completely done with the sugya. There's another development here in the sugya. Yes, Itmar. Tana, thank you. Tana sheniskacha shalol dasavia. Okay. Let's assume that a Ktana was miskadesh without his father knowledge, and we are yet holding that something happened. What happened? Let's say she was miskadesh on Sunday morning. Monday morning, the father heard about it, and we don't know what he says, and we're concerned that, or let's say, even according to Ravina, if the father said, "Oh, great, wow, amazing," then even Ravina would agree that according to the Ran, retroactively from Sunday, she's mekudeshes. Why? Because once on Monday, the father said, "Oh, really? That Reuven Shimon Pachachovsky was mekadesh my daughter? Terrific! What a great guy, the best guy in yeshiva." Then what? We say that that's called a zchus for him. The Reuven Shimon Pachachovsky was mekadesh, the little girl, was retroactively. We're now aware of the fact that it's a zchus. Like I picked up for you $1 million envelope. Beautiful. That's the gadol. I go with the Ran. There are different explanations. Let's go with that. Says the Gemara. I'm restarting the Gemara. Itma. Tanishin is kachishalo dasavia. Omarav. Ben hi uben avia yechodin leakev. Wow. Says Rav. She, either she or her father, can say no, which means, let's say the Ktana received the Kiddushin. He gave her a candy, a real big red candy, lollipop. Whoa, can't resist that. That's Kiddushin for you. And then there was 9 o'clock in the morning, Sunday. Before the father heard about it on Monday morning, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, she finished the candy. She actually doesn't like that guy anymore. She says, "No, I don't want." She doesn't want. She says, "I'm not interested in the Kiddushin." And she caught the train on time before the father heard about it. Because who's the Maki Bepatish of this Kiddushin? The father. Eventually, the father has to know. It's a Ktana. He doesn't have real independence. Says Rav, the father, of course, can be Me'akev. Of course, the father can say no. If the father right away said no, then even Rav Shmuel would say it's a no. The Chiddush is that she was quick enough to refuse the Kiddushin before it came to the father's knowledge, then the whole thing is annulled. And even if the father said yes afterwards, it's nothing. Wow, why? I works retroactively, according to the Ran. Says the Ran, nothing happened. She undid her part in the Kiddushin. It's Kilu, the father said yes to nothing. You know what I'm saying? She undid her Maisa receiving Kiddushin by saying, I don't want you, I don't be mekadesh to you, before the stempel of the father came, and that's an essential stempel. She caught it on time, and therefore, when the father says yes, it's a nothing already, because she undid what she did. So he has nothing to agree to. That's the way I understand around. Achronim talk about it, but no, I don't think so. It's a good question. I don't know. Maybe. Actually, no. That we'll discuss at the end of Shiur. If Kiddushin didn't come through, she may have to return the lollipop, and that is actually a question at the end of Shiur. We'll get there. Leave that for later. It's actually a very sumzach, the question. That's Rav. The Rav Asi Omar. Remember the names, by the way. Rav and Rav Asi are the opponents here. The Rav Asi Omar, Avia Velohi. Rav Asi says, no, she is a little girl. She can be miskadesh, and it's totally v'oimer than the father. The only one that has das here is the father. She has no independent das. So if she received the Kiddushin, she's like a monkey receiving Kiddushin. She's doing the physical thing. And the father is the one to decide whether it's yes or no. It's not up to her. So even if she refuses, but the father says yes, her opinion is garnished, says Rav Asi. Oh, now we're going to ask a question. Rav Huna is going to attack Rav Asi from a brisa, the Amrila, and some say that the attack was Chia Barav. He's the one who asked Rav Asi. Oh, before we continue, let's have a refresher's course on the halachos of mefate, the seductor. A man was mefate in naira. Let's have chifate ish naira besula. A man was mefate. He seducted a girl who's a naira. A naira is a very kind of delicate stage. Why? A ktana, if you mefate ktana, that's like a child abuser. Pitu ktana oinesu. It's a crepe. It's a coincy. Now, Pitu of Igdoila, she agreed. she'd really agreed. If she's 12 and a half and her friend from high school, she goes to co-ed high school. So such a great idea, yeah? Yeah. And then what? She wanted, what do you want? But if she's 12 and a half, that is the middle stage. And in that stage, if there was pitui and she wasn't called that she was moichel on the pitui, then we have to punish him. What's the punishment? Either gives her a knas, right? He gives her a knas, true. He gives a knas to the father, right? Or the alternative to get out of the knas of 50 shekels, and 50 shekels is a lot of money. 50 shekels is more than 2 fields in Yerushalayim. 50 shekels is a lot, yeah, because 70 shekels was what Yirmiyahu paid. So that's for Sod in Yerushalayim. It's a lot of money. If you want to get rid of the 50 shekels, you can marry her. You can marry her. It says Mohim Horenu Loi. Moher doesn't mean quick, means like mohar, give her dowry and marry her. Or alternatively, if it says Imoin Yemain Aviha Letitaloi, but the father says, I'm mine, I'm not giving my daughter to you, Mr. Menuvo, who had seduced my daughter, right? So if the father refuses, then he has to pay. But if the father says, okay, let's go ahead and they should marry, they get married. Their options, either marry or pay the 50. One of the two. Similar to Oines, but not the same. Oines cannot divorce her and he can. Imain Yemain Avia. So now what does the Brisa say? If you notice, it says Moin Yemain twice. Moin Yemain, if the father refuses and again refuses the father, then he has to pay her money because there's no marriage. It's only the father, but she herself, if she refused, how do you know that she's also Amanda Omar? She can also refuse that marriage. How do you know that? Talmud Loimar, as I told you, Moin Yemain Mikol Mokoim. Moin Yemain Mikol Mokoim. Yeah, Moin Yemain, father and girl. What I told you is true, but it's not what the Gemara thinks right now. The Gemara in the Havamina believes that this boy wasn't such a bad boy. He wasn't Stam, a high school kid who wanted to have fun one night. Yeah, he wanted to, believe it or not, he was mefata her for Kiddushin. He told her, "Harayat mekadesh." He's a frum boy, frum baltaive. Yeah, what does he say? He says, "You are mekudeshly in this bia, right? You are in I don't know kita zayin and kita chet. Let's get married, get out of school. Let you be miskadish to me in this bia." I learned the Mishnah. Shlosha drachim, says the boy, and that's what he wanted. And then we said, and she said yes. And then, what's moini mine? If the father said no after the kiddushin, because she's still a naira, or the girl said no after the kiddushin bia, she can annul the kiddushin bia. So you see mefurish against Lavasi. If that's how you learn the case, right? There was, in other words, there's no difference halachically, me'ikar din, Rav canceled mekadesh bia. But me'ikar din, there's no difference between giving a ring or candy at mukadeshusli or bia at mukadeshusli. And what are we saying? After the kiddushin, after the morning after, as they say, she said, "No, actually, I don't want you. You made me do this. No, I'm not interested in mekadesh to you, and I have time to annul it." Since when can a woman annul kiddushin? Because she's an ira. Her father didn't say yes. It's all up to the father. So she still has that loophole, the time to catch it on time before anything happened, before the father agreed to say no. You see, mamish black and white against Ravasi. You see that the girl can stop it before the father got to know about it. That's black and white against what Ravasi said and pro Rav. So do a supporting Rav against Ravasi. Listen to this, and this is happening. That happens many times. Omar lehu Rav. You know who's defending Ravasi? His opponent. Happens many times in the Gemara, right? One Amoira is defending his opponent against an attack. That's real looking for the emes, bikush emes. Omar lehu Rav. Rav told those Amoroim who challenged Ravasi, Lotiz lubosar ibcha. Don't follow the opposite way. Don't follow false. Don't say something which is not necessarily true. Why? Because that pasuk can be interpreted, and the drosha of it can be interpreted differently. If my colleague and opponent Ravasi wanted to, he could have answered. I'm suggesting an answer for Ravasi. As I told you originally, which issues you're talking about? It's a high school kid, a high school girl, or elementary school girl. And what does he want? Pitui. There's pitui not for issues, right? And still you have to tell me that she can refuse that bia as Kiddushin. She's not usher because of that bia as Kiddushin, which is very strange. Says the Gemara, Shalol Shemishas Boy, what are you talking about? Obviously, if the bia was not for Kiddushin, then of course she's not mekadeshes. Why do you need the pasuk for that? What? Yeah, it's a shver havamina. I don't know, but that seems to be the havamina. But very soon we're getting back on our feet. Omar v'Nachma beYitzchak loima shemishalim knas kemefuta, which means enachinami. We're not talking here about nisu kiddushin that at all. There's no kiddushin. He wanted to have his hano. That's all. And what's the chiddush of her refusing and the father refusing? As originally told you. Now we're back full circle, meaning we're not talking about kiddushin. Leave kiddushin alone. It was just Maisa Avera, not for Kiddushin. Hopefully she went to mikveh. That's all I can say, right? Elamai, Mishalim Knas Kemefuta, which means if the father refuses, you know what's the chiddush of the drasha? Big red letters. Or the girl refuses to do what? To marry, then Mr. Mefate has to pay 50 shekels. That's all. Yeah. Yes, because it's a naira. Because it's a naira. Yes. Now, if she's above naira, if she agreed, she was moichel her own pitui. Kilu, he owes her 50 and she was moichel it, so she agreed. And naira is a special chidush because maybe she was moichel, although she's an adult, but legabe many inyonim, she belongs to the father. The father says, "You foolish girl were moichel. I wasn't moichel your pitui." And but the refusal to marriage is also up to her, but that doesn't reflect on Rav Asi's issue. It's not our issue. Rav Asi spoke about undoing Kiddushin. That's much bigger. Here we're talking about refusing Kiddushin to begin with. He was mefata her on Motzei Shabbos, and they're saying, okay, we can arrange a chasana on Monday. That's one option. And the poor boy won't have to pay 50. Comes a girl on Monday and says, actually not. You're a piece of garbage, excuse my language, and I don't want to marry you. And even if the father wants, but she doesn't want, then the boy will not marry her. He'll have to opt for the 50 shekels to the father, right? Omar Rav Yosef, Ihochi, unbelievable. Over here, Ihochi doesn't mean a question, it's a support. Yosef says that's a derech of Rav Yosef. In other places, when we say Ihachi, in Rav Yosef's terminology, it means, if so, I understand the following brisa. Yeah, interesting. Ihochi here means a supportive statement, endorsing what we said and not questioning it. Now I understand good the brisa. It says moher meharena lo leisha. What's moher meharena? Doesn't mean it should be quick. He should give her mohar, should give her kiddushin. Shetzrichemenu kiddushin. Oh, in other words, we're talking here about a situation in which there was pitui, and now she's facing a situation, if everyone agrees, that she needs kiddushin. Oh, what do you mean she needs to have kiddushin? The impita l'shum issues kiddushin lamali. That proves our point. If we said like you originally said that the pitui when he was with her and he did what he did on Motzei Shabbos, let's say, and that was what? That was for kiddushin. Why do we need other kiddushin, right? We're only questioning, shall we continue the kiddushin or not? That's all. But why do you need kiddushin? Must be that really. You know why you need second kiddushin? Not second, because the first ma'aseh was just the pitui, was tam, having fun, having an avera. That proves the point. If so, maybe that's a proof. Maybe now we are forcing the pshat that this is a pshat in the pasuk. Not necessarily. You may be right, but it's not proven your way either. Sricha kiddushin l'da'asavia. Says Abaye, nice, but it's not forced. We don't know 100% that the story there was pitui without kiddushin. Maybe there was pitui for kiddushin, and she still needs more kiddushin. What? You tell me it was kiddushin Motzei Shabbos. She needs kiddushin again on Tuesday. You can't do that twice. Answers Abaye l'das avia. If we don't follow some opinions that we said before, then although he gave her kiddushin on Motzei Shabbos in the form of bia, that's for her. Maybe the father would say, no, I want proper kiddushin. I want kiddushin on her finger because I am the one who's, at the end of the day, I'm the one deciding. The buck stops here by me, by the father. And therefore you could say that even if the pita was for kiddushin, the father has the right to say, I will agree to that. Let's say the boy and the girl want each other, yeah? And the father would say, I'm agreeing if you give me more kiddushin to me, for the father, actually, not to the girl, ring for the father. That we need more Kiddushin. But maybe Nechanami, the first Pitu was for Kiddushin. So right now we're finished with that. We're up to the Mishnah now. Basically, let's review the sugya. Rav and Ravasi had a machloikis, nothing to do with the bia. There was a big boy, Bab Bar Mitzvah, gave the girl a ring. She's under Bas Mitzvah, read mekadeshly, and she said, "Yes, I do." Very nice. And then what? Then she refused. Says Rav, great, she refused. She undid it before the father got to know about it. Givaldi. By the way, I'm following Rashi. It's before the father. I'll tell you afterwards. Now, what happens according to Ravasi? No way. If the father heard about it, she cannot annul it because she's not a man the Omer here. She can receive the Kiddushin as a physical thing, but the mind is only up to the father. Then you question Ravasi back and forth from the story of Pitui, and it wasn't clear because Pitui could have been with Kiddushin, and she's undoing the Kiddushin of the Pitui. That's against Ravasi. Or we can say no. When we talk about Pitui in the third Parshat Mishpatim, it was Pitui for Pitui, not for Kiddushin, to have a boyfriend, girlfriend, lo aleinu. And that's all. Mimela, it doesn't reflect at all in the story of Ravasi with those real Kiddushin. There we talk about Stam Shtuyot that they did, and will they or won't they in future marry, and that's up to her. Taisa says something unbelievable, something very interesting. I'm not reading the whole Taisus now. We're facing now, we don't have time. The next sugya is interesting big sugya. But basically, Taisa says, even if the father wanted, even though afterwards she can still be ma'akev. Wow. Sunday morning she received Kiddushin. Yeah. Sunday morning she received Kiddushin. Monday the father said, oh yeah, he sent a WhatsApp with 5 hearts and 10 butterflies saying amazing. Then she refuses, then still she can undo even after the father wanted. How could that be? Says Tosis, unbelievable. Why did we say the father can have a say lachar ma'aseh? Because it's a schus for him. Listen to this. Every normal father, if he knows that the girl doesn't want to marry the guy, for him it's a choiv. I don't want that now. It's a choiv for the father. Had I known that she didn't want, then I wouldn't have made that big yes. I wouldn't have agreed. I only agreed because I thought she wanted. She accepted. Now I know that she doesn't want. Retroactively, I realize that my girl doesn't want it. I don't want that. That's a good father. That's what we assume. And therefore, that's why her ikuv works, because that really changes the father's mind, and we say that his yes is not a real yes, because if he knew, he wouldn't have said yes. Mimela, that's not called askom of the father. Ad kedei kach, we care according to Rav about the opinion of the girl. Yeah. Weiter questions, and then the next Mishnah. Yes. Before we start the next Mishnah, imagine yourself the following scenario. Would save you a lot of trouble. Imagine yourself yoga time. There's a boy and a girl, a man and a woman. No kids anymore here. Everyone's adult. He's 50 and she's 49 and a half. Yeah. First marriage. Now what? And there's a man and a woman on 2 sides of a table facing each other. And there he has a cup. Yeah, from Yitzchak. This is full of dates. Yeah, they had many dates, and now they have dates of boyer priya. It's dates that you can eat. Yeah, here. And he wants to be mekadesh in a very unique way. He thinks that rings are really a say. So he wants to be mekadesh with the dates, right? And he places the dates on the table. Yeah, let's say there are 4 dates. It doesn't have to be 4. Let's just imagine such a number. It's a nice round number. Arba imohis. Yeah, there are 4 dates on the table, and he wants to be mekadesh one way or the other with those dates. Those dates should be your case of kiddushin. Let's say the story. Let's take the number 4 because I like the number. There are 4 dates, and he places them on the table and says, Haret Mukadesh Sli. He's cultured, we see different texts, yeah? And he says, Haret Mukadesh Sli with those dates. Okay. Oh, then we'll see whether it's all 4 or one of them. I'm being general on purpose. We'll see if it's all 4 or one of the 4. Very good. You have good memory. Good memory. We discussed that a few years ago. Impressed with your memory. Very good. Seriously. Now, one more piece of information, which I'm sure you know. Just I don't know who watches this shiurim, so I'm saying we all do know that I'm asking you a question, which I know the answer to. Yeah, What would be if a woman lost her wedding ring in the middle of the chasana? She took off the ring to wash. I don't know if she has to, doesn't have to. She lost the wedding ring. So is she still married? Well, obviously, yes. Yeah. Now, what happens if she received the Kiddushin nicely? She said, yes, good, amazing. Ah, thank you. I love you. I do, forever and ever. She wants the Kiddushin clearly. She received the ring. And then she went and she just doesn't like the type of ring. Very untactful, not amazing marriage, the way to start. And she threw it in the garbage on purpose. Is she mekudeshes? Yes. She said, yeah, of course. Oh, I know you know that. I'm just making sure. Okay, very good. Now, what about if she ate the dates? Says Heilige Mishnah. A man told a woman, he's kachili betmorozu, he's kachili bezu. In other words, he placed the dates on the table and said, he's kachili betmorozu, he's kachili betmorozu, he's kachili betmorozu, he's kachili. Every time he said again the word, be miskadish to me in the tomorrow. Be miskadish in the date, be miskadish in the date. Since, if you remember from the previous Shiur, Yosef, then we said if he kept saying the verb iskadshi every time, that is to say, im yesh be'achas men shove pruta mekudeshes, dimlav eine mekudeshes. Because he's relating to each date separately, he means to say this or this or this or this. So if one of those dates has shove pruta, let's say date number 2 or 3 is shove pruta, the other ones are less than shove pruta, very small and dingy, then what? Then one of them is good enough. He's saying, I'm giving different options. There are 4 different dates here, each one different color and shape. Yeah. So whichever one, pick your choice. Fine. So as long as one of them is Shava Pruta, she's Mekudeshes, because she's saying any of the 4, except all 4, one of them will do the trick. One of them is enough. One of the 4 should be your Kiddushin. That's good enough. The Imlav, any Mekudeshes. Let's say all 4 Tmorim, each one is worth a quarter of a Pruta. No Kiddushin. Because at least one of them has to be Shava Pruta. It's this or this. Masha'ink and case number 2. There are 3 cases in the Mishnah. Case number 2. Case number 2. If he said bezu, ubezu, ubezu, let's say said the verb hiskachi once. Hiskachili bezu, ubezu, ubezu, ubezu. How do you understand that? It's a chain, it's a train. Be miskadesh with be miskadesh with 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Then how is it mikadesh her? All 4 accumulative, very good. If between all 4 the shava pruta, 4 quarters are 1 pruta cumulative, mazel tov mekudeshes, bimlav and mekudeshes. But if between all 4 of them it's less than shava pruta, let's say the 4 cumulative number is 3 quarters of pruta, 90% pruta, it's not mekudeshes. So far that's quite easy, quite good, very nice. Case number 3 is going to give us hard time, but we're going to get it right. I don't know if she's very hungry or just uncouth, but Lamaisa, as he's putting this on the table, she makes a beautiful baraha, bore periha eats, and she eats one, and he places another one on the table, she eats the other one, he places the third one, and she eats it, he places one and she eats it. That does trouble. Next time, if you see a woman doing that, tell her don't do that. Why? What happens if she ate all 4 as he was mekadeshing her along, right? And he wants it to be, we don't know if it's cumulative or not. Right now, we don't know how to interpret it, but she's eating it as we go along. Then we say, in this case, too, she's not mekudeshes unless one of the dates is shava pruta, similar to the first case. If you don't know what the third case is about, and what does her eating do, you're in very good company, because the Gemara is going to ask the question, and believe me, we're going to dissect those dates, in every possible way. But the first 2 cases are easy. Zok the Gemara. The beginning of the Gemara is known to you from a few days ago. Man Tana his kachi. Which Tana is the one who requires that in order to separate the statements, you have to say again the verb is kachi on each item, be miskadesh with the tomer, be miskadesh in each one, and only that separates them, as opposed to who? There were other Tanoim who said that if you said iskachi and you didn't say the iskachi b'tomorrow, it already separates it. Who is the one who believes that saying iskachi again and again and again, only that's like the separator between each tomorrow, and it makes them shova pruta each one separately? That follows the opinion of Reb Shimon. There were 4 opinions, if you remember. What did Reb Shimon say? The Omar, yeah, we saw that before. We compared the case of Kiddushin to the case of Shvua. Let's say a person, misken, has, that common claim of 5 guys all are ganging up on him, saying, you owe us money. Yomi, Yomi, blah, blah, blah. Reuven, Shimon, Levi, Yehuda, and Yekusiel all claim that he owes them money, right? By the way, they're right. Yeah. And he made a Shvua. What kind of Shvua did he make? Shvua, no, not true. I don't owe you. I don't owe you. So sometimes he owes, and he lied. He admitted that he lied, and he does owe the money. Yeah, right? And he's got 20, I'm just joking, yeah? And there are like 20 different people that bought apartments from him. And then came out what? That he lied to all of them. Does he have to pay each one separately and give an osham, or one for everybody? Depends. If he made a general shvua to everybody, and he said shvua, l'cha, v'l'cha, 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 and, all of you together, he has to bring 1 korban. But if he said shvua lecha, shvua lecha, shvua lecha, shvua lecha, according to Reb Shimon, that separates each shvua, and misken, he'll have to bring many, many different rams to base a mikdash as a korban. The comparison is, when do you call something separate and when do you call it cumulatively united? According to Reb Shimon, you have to add the verb hiskadshi, or there the verb nishba. That's all. Bezu, 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 yesh b'kol shove pruta v'chulei. Oh, now we're going to touch on the last case of the Mishnah. I want to teach you a rule which I believe you may know already, but I want to remind you of a rule. Whenever it says v'chulei in the quote from the Mishnah, the Gemara is going to talk about what's after the v'chulei, about the what's not mentioned in the quote, right? Like now we mentioned in the quote here between the 2 dots, bezu, 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 miesh b'kol shepruta. That's case number 2. What's case number 2? He clearly said, Yomi mekadeshly with this and all 4. Then all 4 of them between them have to be shova pruta. But if one of them is not shova pruta, it's okay, because it's a cumulative. As long as between all 4, that now the v'chulei, what the Gemara is going to talk about is the 3rd case when she was so hungry or so I don't know, into a dates diet, yeah, that she ate them as he was putting them on the table. She ate them, and then one of them has to be shova pruta. Yeah, I'm tempting not to tell you more. We know there are Eidim that can say they will shova pruta. There are 2 Eidim and they know they're shova pruta. It's big, nice, and very fleshig, very zafting. It's a nice date. Okay, that's a technical. That's a gross question. Rogachover. Frek the Heilige Gemure. Ahaya. On which one of the bothers does that talk about? Yeah, are we talking here about the Reisha when it was this, and one of them has to be shova pruta, and she ate all of them, and then it has to be shova pruta? Or do we talk about the Seifa when it's a cumulative and it doesn't have to be shova pruta, but if she ate them, then it has to be shova pruta? Don't get confused. The Gemara will elaborate on each and every case. Option number 1. Ilema Aresha. Let's say that the Seifa of the eating, let's give it names. Reisha, Seifa, and the eater's case, the eating case, right? If you tell me that the eating case relates back to the Reisha of either or, what's the Chiddush? Ma'ir yocheles. Who cares if she ate it or not? Afilu manachas nami. Even if she laid it on the table in front of her, as I told you, the haiskachili bezuka, right? He told her, be mekadesh with this, or this, or this, or this. What did we say in the Reisha? One of them has to be shova pruta, right? But if he said either this or the other, at least one of them has to be the winner of shova pruta, right? So, and then you're saying in the Sefer, if she ate them, it has to be shova pruta. Who cares? Even if she didn't eat them, it has to be shova pruta. The easy question, right? Clear, yeah? Who cares if she ate them or put them on her head? What do I care? It has to be shova pruta. Doesn't make sense. Ela seifa. Oh, mazel tov. Now we're getting, guys, a little bit deeper. Hold cup alert. Ela seifa. We're talking here what? There's an accumulative. What's a seifa? Be miskadesh to me with this, and this, and this, and this. What does he want to do, this guy? What's his shtick? He wants her to be miskadesh. Only, when will she be miskadesh, my friends? When the 4th date, let's say she didn't eat, the normal case. She's nice and elegant. She doesn't eat in front of him in the middle of the Kiddushin. Oh, very nice. When he puts a fourth date down, Mazel Tov, then we say she's Mekudeshes. That's a normal case, right? Now, let me ask you a question. That date, when he gave her the first date, the more we understand now, the easier it will be later. So I'm happy you're holding cop. When he gave her the first date and the second, drum roll, can they regret in the middle before the Kiddushin is done? Yes. What's the status of those dates that are on the table? He gave it to her hand on her table. She placed it on the table. She's not yet Mekudeshes. She's on her way to be Mekudeshes. What's the status of those dates? Do they belong to him, to her, to Leonovi? Who does it belong to? Close, but not a cigar. It's a pikodon. It's a deposit. When I want to buy your motorcycle, I don't have 50,000. You think I'm a millionaire? No, I don't have 50,000 cash. 15,000. 15, yeah. I'll give you 5,000 today, cash. 5,000 tomorrow. I can't take too much from the ATM. And 5,000 the third day, right? 1 second. No, we said 15. No, I thought. Then what happens? And let's say that you're okay with me regretting. Forget about Mishapora. Let's say we can regret. Then the money, you keep it. If the motorcycle will be mine at the end of the 3 days, Mazel Tov, you get 15,000. I drive the motorcycle and I have to start learning for a license for that. Masha'inken, the first 2 installments before anything was finished is a deposit. You put it nicely like a nice, honest guy in your safe. It's a deposit in your hands and see what happens. See how the wind blows. So unless she ate it, Yosef, you were right, but not. If she doesn't eat it, she behaves like a human being, then what? The dates are on the table, and we wait and see what's going to happen. For now, they're pikodon. What happened when she ate it? The date. Yes, any. Yeah, let's say 1. Or let's say she ate them as they go along. Let me. Let's say she ate them as they go along. Now, when she eats them and he's okay with that, what's the difference between pikodon and milveh? Pikodon I'm not allowed to use. Milveh I'm using. So when she eats it and he's like, okay, she's eating it. What is it? It's a loan because the date is very deep in her stomach. And in case the Kiddushin don't go through, what will she have to do? Not give the actual date. She'll have to give the worth of the date. She'll have to give the shover pruta, half a pruta of the date. It's a milveh. When he gives her a date, hoping that all 4 dates will lie on the table and she'll receive all 4, there'll be the final blow of the Kiddushin, Maki Bepatish, then the dates that she's eating are a milveh, are halva for the date, for the Kiddushin. Correct the Gemara. We'll get to you soon. Do you want to tell me that if she ate the first, what did you say in the Seifa? The one of the dates has to be Shova Pruta, right? If she ate them, one of them has to be Shova Pruta. We don't even know why, by the way, but we right away ask a question. Wait a second. Let's say the first or second date, one of them was Shova Pruta, not the others. Let's say the first date was a gezunt, a nice Shova Pruta date, nice and flashy and fluffy, She ate that, it was Shova Pruta, it was a milveh. Because, no, although it's a Shova Pruta, he made the Tanai only once all 4 on the table should be Mekudeshes. I knew you were going to ask that. In other words, even if the first date is worth 50 shekels, some special date from Indonesia, personal import, it does make a difference. He said, I don't care how much it's worth. I make a condition. I want to play my shtick. I want you to be miskadesh to me only after 4 dates are in your hand. So even if the first date is Shova Pruta, she's not done by then. Because his condition is only when she finishes all 4. Now, she ate the first date and we say, the first date has to be Shova Pruta because we say that's a Shova Pruta. That's what she's miskadesh with from some reason. We'll see later why. And the rest are just like a condition. Wait a second. She was miskadesh with a milveh. Because that first date, once she ate it, yum, 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 it's a halva. You can't be miskadesh with halva. Remember, we learned in Daf Vav Amud Beis, I think, or Hey Amud Beis. It says mekadesh b'milveh ene mekudeshes for reasons we said over there, and we're going to say it later too in our parak. Milveh lo itzonitna. Milveh means it belongs to her. The date is in her stomach. She'll have to give him a new date, new money. So you can't be mekadesh with a milveh. The milvehi, and we accept the fact that milveh you can't be mekadesh with a milveh. So you're stuck. So whichever way you learn that story of the gluttonous, If case number one, case number two, and the gluttonous. The gluttonous case doesn't work right with either case. Why? If it's a Reisha, it's too poshut. It's not a chid. What does eating have to do with anything? And if it's a Seifa, it's like a loan. When she ate it, she borrowed it. She knows she may have to give it back if nothing happens. And if the Kiddushin, but then no, but you tell me that's a Shava Pruta? The Kiddushin depends on that Shava Pruta, and the other dates are stamped to fulfill it tonight? No, so she's miskadesh with the milva, that's bad. We're going to discuss more about the milva later. This is just the outline. Listen to a very interesting lotion of the Gemara. The Gemara is now making a statement to intensify the question, to show how stuck we are. Omer Rabbi Yochanan is lamenting the fact that Arei Shulchan, Varei Bosa, Varei Sakin, we have a table here, we have a piece of meat over here, we have the knife. The Enlanu Peh, the gear says Peh of the Bach Lechol, which means we have a Mishnah that says so many items, we don't have the mouth to eat it. In other words, that Mishnah has three statements, each one makes sense by itself. I don't have the mouth, I don't know how to eat that Mishnah. In Hebrew, I don't know how to stomach it, I don't know how to accept it, how to deal with it. It's here it comes. Answers the Gemara. Answer number one is the easy one. Rav Shmuel Amrit Ravayu. Rav Shmuel, both of them say as follows. Lo'elam Areisha. Really the case of the gluttonous girl, GGC, gluttonous girl case, What happens then? It refers back to the Reisha. What did we say in the Reisha? He told her, be miskadesh to me with this, or this, or this, or this. Well, one of them has to be Shova Pruta. Whichever is the lucky date, that will be the Shova Pruta. Well, that's even without eating, right? Even if it's placed on the table. So why do you say in the Seifa, if you told her or, and she ate it, it has to be Shova Pruta, even without eating? Answers the Gemara, Rav Shmuel, V'lo mibai ka'omar. It's not exclusive, it's inclusive. It's lo mibai. You were coming to say, needless to say, meaning, lo mibai manachas. Needless to say, not only when she placed them on the table like a human being, and she didn't eat it, that's for sure. Clearly, if she places them on the table and he told her he's kachi, one of them has to be shever pruta. Otherwise, no. Aval, one could have suggested the following idea: Oicheles, when she ate them all as he goes along, she comes eats them as he goes along. You will see that her hano is so ready. She shows that for her, she loves those dates. It's like a little kid with a candy. She can't resist it. What does that show? Ema, maybe you would have suggested that Gomro Makni Anafsha, maybe she's willing to give herself for Kiddushin, even if it's less than Shava Pruta. Because for her, look, she's a dateaholic. She's a dateaholic. She sees a date. Wow. That is to show what? That maybe for her, even though in the market it's less than Shava Pruta, how much is the Pruta we said? It's not even market price. We saw a sugya in Daf Yud Beis. We saw that we don't go by market. Shava Pruta has to be higher than the market. It's an 8 of Isar Italki. Remember the first Mishnah? Pruta has to be worth something. Maybe for that girl, look, even though the tomorrow less than Shava Pruta, look how she behaves. She eats them straight away. She loves them so much. So maybe for her, she'll be miskadesh even in less than Shava Pruta. That's a Havamina. KML Kamash Malan, we don't say that. No. Kamash Malan, even though she is an absolute in love with what? Those dates, she eats them straight away, we still go by the regular halachic standard that requires Shava Pruta. We don't care about the fact that she eats them so quickly. She eats them so quickly because her mommy didn't teach her to wait, that's all. But Lamaisa, we're not, we can't be mekadesh. If she said otherwise, it's a good question. Let's say a girl says, Mefurish, I know that this ring is lost in Shava Pruta, it's plastic made in China, and I'm still willing to miskadesh less than Shava Pruta. I doubt it would work. I'm not sure it's going to work. I don't know the halacha. I'm ashamed to say, because I'm learning Kiddushin for a long time, I don't know what the halacha would be. And that's Nishta the Poshut. But in this case, she didn't say that. She just ate. I'm saying I'm avoiding the question here. It's not like she said, oh, so I love you so much. I love the date so much. So I'm eating them and I don't mind. She didn't say that. We may assume that that's what she thinks. We say no. As long as she didn't say otherwise, we have to stick to the regular standards of Pruta. And even though for her it's very, very yummy and very immediate to have the no straight away, Mekarva Niosa, she has very ready hano, opposed to a ring, which she doesn't have such immediate, instant gratification. Kamash Malan, it has to be Shava Pruta. Saved by the bell. Rabbi Ami, okay, we don't have much time. What? No, she wants to show how much she loves the dates and she loves him. She eats them to show, wow, I can't resist the amazing, beautiful dates. That's why she's eating them. You have to think positive in marriage. Baruch Hashem. Now, Rabbi Ami is going to give us a different answer. That we'll see tomorrow, Mirza Hashem. How? That really, that story of eating them and requiring one should be shover pruta goes in the sefer. What did we say in the sefer? I'm preparing you for tomorrow. In the sefer, we said, in the second case of the Mishnah, what did we say? All 4 dates, each one is worth, let's say, quarter of a pruta to make it nice and round. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, all on the table. The Kodeshes, between all 4, you have Shava Pruta. But if she ate one of them, because it's a milva, one of them, soon we'll see which one has to be Shava Pruta. That's an exception to the rule. Although it's end, but if she ate them and treated them as milva, then one of them has to outdo the milva and be a Shava Pruta. You know which one that is? The last one. Because the last one is not a milva. We'll see that tomorrow already. So remember, tomorrow we're holding Rabbi Ami at the end of Mem Vav Amud Aleph, towards the bottom of the page. You know the page is called Mem Vav. Mu. Who does mu? A cow. So she behaved like, okay. The girl is like, Atzlacha Uvracha, have a great day, and may we all be Metzlich in Torah. Fight the war of Torah, and let our soldiers win. Atzlacha Uvracha. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Alan said he'll be here today, but I hope he'll feel better tomorrow. He sounded much better on the phone. Refuah Shlema to Alan.